So, lesson number 3 with your good old friend Ben. This is something I really like to talk about. It's kind of, I won't say it's a theory I developed, but it's a good way to look at it. What Facebook ads is if you look at it from a tangible point of view. Now, how I look at it is I like to say that Facebook ads are pretty much like a kiosk in a mall. What that basically means is that you know how in malls there's like in the hallways, at least it's not in every country like this, but I know in the US it is, and I know in some countries in Europe it is, I know in Israel it is. But through the hallways, there's the stores and everything, if it's Zara or Nike or Apple or whatever. But then between the stores there's always like these little kiosks that sell phone cases or hair straighteners or cosmetics or toys, and these are like kiosks, right? So this is how I like to imagine Facebook ads, basically a kiosk in a mall. This is how it looks, right? You can see a kiosk here by Solaris and then another kiosk here on the right. Now, the reason I'm mentioning these kiosks is because nobody comes to the mall for the kiosk. Nobody. People come for the stores. But the kiosks still manage to generate insane amounts of revenue, and sometimes even more than the stores. And I can say that from experience because I used to work in some of these kiosks, and we've generated insane amounts that are sometimes more than the stores that were next to us. Why? Because the kiosk's objective is to actually attract customers, which means the better their marketing is, the better their kiosk looks, the more it's going to attract customers. So you can see here 2 examples of this bright Solaris kiosk, which is fully lit up, super noticeable, against this cookies and brownies kiosk on the right. Dull, small, less attractive. Obviously, the Solaris kiosk is going to attract more customers because it is much more noticeable. Now, that is essentially what Facebook ads is. It's a, one second, there it is. That's essentially what Facebook ads is. It's a kiosk. Nobody goes to Facebook for the ads. People go to Facebook to communicate. People go to Facebook to spend time. People go to Facebook to talk with their grandma, with their dog, to post pictures of their dog, to see what's up with their friends. But still, we're able to sell to these people because our Facebook ads are attracting enough. You have to understand the mindset of a customer here. Most people usually don't understand this, where you have to think who's behind the screen, right? You know how difficult it is to get somebody that is just scrolling through Facebook to suddenly see an ad, attract him, for him to notice it, for him to go in and actually put a credit card in a website that he's never heard of. That's not that easy. Now, of course, we make money from it and there's billions generated from it, but some people think that it's just like, oh, I'm gonna run some ads and I'm gonna make some money. Yes, that's what we want to do, but you have to understand that this is not a machine. We're dealing here with actual people. We're dealing here with humans like yourself, like myself. If you do not accumulate that, you do not understand that mentally, then you will not be successful. You have to be noticeable enough that you're gonna not only catch their attention, but that eventually they go through your website and actually make a purchase. And it's easy. It's like, it sounds easy on paper, but it's not really that. It's, people are not robots. They have emotions. They have feelings. They're exactly like us. Most of them are even in not even in an environment where they can actually make the purchase. So that's why it's really, really important to have that mindset. That people don't go to Facebook to buy things. People go to Facebook to spend time, to be unproductive, and to waste their life on cat photos. Which is fine, like I'm guilty of that as well sometimes, and I've bought quite a few products from Facebook as well. But the ads that succeed are the ones that actually catch the attention. Now, that does not essentially mean that your ad has to be like exaggerated, full rainbow colors, that scream attention. No, it does not mean that. Although this is a really cool shirt, and I'm pretty sure that grabbed a lot of attention. We actually used to sell that a while ago. That doesn't mean that it needs to be like that. It just needs to be high quality. The headlines, the ad copy needs to be attention grabbing enough so somebody can notice it, stop, be intrigued, and click on it. Once they click on the ad, that's it. They are out of Facebook. They are now in your hand. They're on your website. Now, what you do on the website, that's up to you. The Facebook ad cannot control what's happening on the website, but your main objective is to get them to click on the ad and move it to the website. That's why don't try to hard sell on the ad. Don't try to do anything that's going to take too much time for them to read through. Try to be as simple as possible. We're going to touch on ad copy as well, don't worry. But your main objective is to get them on the website. Okay? Now that just means to make your products more attractive. If it's like the image is more attractive or the ad copy more attractive, that's what you want to do. Now I'm going to give you like a quick tool that you can actually use to make your your images pop up much more in literally like 30 seconds without any design skills at all. So you should download Adobe Lightroom. Essentially Adobe Lightroom CC, I think, the simple one, where it's probably like $10-20 a month, but it's really, really worth it. And if you really don't want to spend money, you could probably find a pirated version. But here, I'm gonna give you a walkthrough in a second, but I just want to show you the difference. So we have like a ring here, right? Sapphire ring. This is an image directly from AliExpress. And with 30 seconds of Lightroom editing, look how different it looks. The colors are much more vibrant. The ring is much more shiny, more sharp. It just attracts more attention. You see how dull this looks compared to this. And again, you don't even need to be a designer to do this. I'll show you in a second how I do this. But this literally turns a $1.50 product to a $50 product, if not more. And all I did here is just enhance the colors, increase the contrast, increase the brightness, and just made it look a bit better. And this changes the whole prestigeness of the product. Okay, don't just go and copy images from AliExpress. Try to actually change them, actually edit them, because it takes really, really just a few seconds, and I'll show you in a second how. Of course, if you are more advanced and you actually, you're fulfilling products from your own fulfillment centers, then the best thing to do is to actually take the pictures yourself. But most of us don't do that, and we just take the images that are available for us from the supplier. But the minimum we can do is to actually just edit the photo. Here's another example. A dress before, boom, after. Vibrant colors, less dull, more sharp, more out there. Okay, it just looks much prettier, even has that little 3D effect. Okay, let me give you a quick walkthrough. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So how did I actually do that? So I got Lightroom here, right? It's Adobe Lightroom CC. So I'm just gonna go in here. Let me check that. And this was the first image, the image from AliExpress. Now look in 30 seconds time how it can look much, much better. Now there's not even a lot of things to play here. So I'm gonna go here to the profile of the image. I'm just gonna play around with these sliders, right? So exposure, you just want to play with it until it actually looks good in your opinion. So exposure, you see if I go too much, it looks too bright, not good. So I'm going to reduce the exposure to give it more of to make it less bright, because it's super bright here, right? Contrast, I like to increase that because that gives it more of it actually brings the darks up, and then gives it more of a 3D prestige look. Highlight, again, I'm just going to play around with it and see what I like more. So I'm going to reduce that a bit. Shadows, same thing. Whites, something like that. Blacks, let's reduce that. Temperature, usually I don't touch that unless it's like the image is really yellow or something. Vibrance, I really like to amp that up because it increases the color. Saturation, sometimes saturation is like vibrance, but it's stronger. If there are specific colors in the image that you want to enhance, you can actually change them. So let's say you want to take blue, right? We can enhance that blue, we can reduce that blue. Of course, we don't want to go too exaggerated and false advertise the product, but at this point, we're not really false advertising. We're just making the product seem like it actually is. You can even change like the color of the stones if you want, but obviously we're not going to do that. But I just like play around with it, see what attracts you more. Clarity, really, really important. That makes it really more prestige, more stand out. Dehaze a bit. These two I usually don't touch them, vignette and grain. Sharpening, I really like to sharpen the image. Sometimes with images like this with jewelry, it actually doesn't look as good, but that's why we usually do noise reduction as well, which kind of smooth out the picture. But at this point, I think it's too sharp because it kind of pixelates it, so I'll even reduce the sharpening a bit, and voila, I'm pretty much done. Now look, before, after, before, after. Literally, how long did that take me? 45 seconds while explaining to you. Of course, there's much more to do in this program, but that's from the simplest level. You can make a product stand out a million times more. Now I'm going to do another one really, really fast to show you the girl from the slides. So exposure, again, reduce contrast and increase that. Highlights, shadows, whites, blacks, temperature. Maybe you see this is a bit yellow in my opinion, so I'm going to reduce it a bit. Vibrance, increase that. Saturation, not too much. Maybe like the colors, I might increase like the greens on the flowers a bit. Make it stand out. Maybe the oranges on the flowers a bit, something like that. But again, it's like, as you can see, her skin is getting very, very glowy as well, which is, we don't want her to look like she just came out of a tanning salon. So that's going to be a bit. Clarity, a bit, dehaze, something like that. Sharpening, I like to increase that. Now you see how the more I sharpen, the more pixelated it gets. That's why you want to be really careful with that. I always like to make it a bit pixelated because then the noise reduction usually eliminates that pixelation. You see before, after. Now that's the final image. Look, before, after, before, after. You see, literally two different worlds. It just looks so much better, and it took me no more than 30 seconds. I actually recommend you to do this with every single one of your product images, because even on your sales page, even on your landing page, it just gives so much more when the product looks, when the images look better. Don't just go and people buy things because how they look, right? Don't assume that if you took it from AliExpress that it's going to sell. When I'm talking about making your product stand out, that your kiosk and the mall, these are one of the things that are going to make your product stand out more. It just adds a more prestigious look without actually false advertising it, because at the end of the day, we didn't change any colors here. We didn't do anything. We just made the picture stand out a bit more. And obviously, if this girl was here next to me with that dress and I brought my professional photographer, he would have taken a very, very, very better, a much better photo than this, because you have to understand that AliExpress suppliers are not marketers. They are not photographers. They just take whatever they can with probably a not really good camera. So that's what we're here for, marketers. We're here to take what they have and improve it. Because if you just, you notice this all the time with suppliers with their ad copy, or not even ad copy, but their product descriptions are literally stupid. They don't explain almost anything, because they know that their customers are not consumers. They're marketers like us. We know how to take those products and actually make them sell. Suppliers don't. So there's one of the things that you can actually do to make your product stand out more. Of course, with that being said, we're going to touch on much more about ad copy and ad images in the next few lessons.